25 years, obviously being able to celebrate that today. I mean, I was watching when you were watching the video up here on the monitor. It kind of had a little bit of emotion to it. Just what kind of came through your mind when you were just watching that video?
I think it's probably the first time in a long time that we've had the ability or taken the time, I guess, to sit there and stop and reflect and think back of what we've done for the last 24 years, getting ready to go into our 25th season. But I think as racers, you win a race, you might celebrate and think about it for 24 hours, but as soon as that 24 hours is up, we always catch ourselves sitting there focused on what are we going to do the next weekend to try to get the same results. So it's hard to think back when you're always thinking forward. And coming into a 25th anniversary season really, I guess, forced us to a certain degree to stop for just a small moment and look over our shoulder and look in the past and look at what we've done as an organization. And seeing videos of Danny winning the first Knoxville Nationals for TSR and Levi's wins and Clausen, and we've had so many great drivers drive for us. And I catch myself saying that like it's over, and it's not. It's just a checkpoint in time and a milestone of 25 years coming up. But it makes me proud of what we've been able to do on the USAC side, the World of Outlaws side, now the NHRA side with that, our three-quarter midget program that we have here in Indiana. We have spent and dedicated our whole life to putting everything back that I've made in motorsports, putting it back in motorsports and continuing the legacy.
And and obviously you mentioned it during the press conference, just with 2 weeks. All right, we're going to start a race team. All that. What were some of the hurdles, especially during that first part of maybe that first season, that maybe you didn't expect, or stuff that kind of just came up?
Well, I think we did it the right way. Danny Lasowski was our first driver, and Jimmy Carr was his crew chief at the time, and they were already with an established World of Outlaws team, and we knew we were going to make the change at the end of the next season. So it gave us a year to get the shop ready, and literally our first shop was at Danny's house. It was out of his garage, and that's where Jimmy lived. That's where Danny was at, and so that's where we started the first team. But once we got into the USAC side, then we had to get a shop and get all the parts and equipment. And USAC program's a way more in-depth program because you've got midgets, sprint cars, Silver Crown cars, and dirt and pavement of all those. So way more labor intensive to get all that ready, and that led us to eventually ending up in the shop we're in today. But eventually we got out of the USAC side, mainly because I just didn't have the time to go watch my cars race. And so we stuck with the World of Outlaw side, and then had the opportunity to move the two drag race teams in here. And we definitely don't have extra room. We've got all the room we need, but we're full right now in this building. So, but it's just neat to see the transition over the years of having USAC cars in this side, and then having the World of Outlaw team move over to this side, and our merchandise go with the other side, and then moving that out, moving the World of Outlaw team back over, and now moving the Nitro teams over here. So it's neat to see the evolution of it. But the one thing that's kind of a common denominator is everything we do in this building is about doing the best we can at the shop to build winning race cars that can go out and win races and contend for championships. Somebody asked me, they said, why don't you have a sign on the door, a TSR sign on the door? It's because we don't give tours. We don't sell souvenirs out of it. We build race cars out of here, and we all know where we work. We all know where it's at. We don't need a sign to show us where we're going to work at, but we just literally are a building full of racers that want to go out and win races and contend for championships.
And obviously with running Top Fuel this year, I mean, at what point did it really start to click, for you in the race car?
I think it was earlier than I even anticipated. I think by the third race, I was starting to feel a little bit more comfortable, and I would say for sure by midpoint of the season. And I know there's scenarios that haven't happened yet that I'm going to have to deal with on a run. But for the most part, I felt like I'd been through enough stuff that I felt comfortable. In the team meetings at the end of the weekend, the crew chief and the guys are telling you you're doing a good job driving the car, and as long as you're getting that endorsement from those guys, because they're the ones that are putting all the labor into it, and having Leah and Matt as coaches, I mean, I had all the resources available to me to have a successful rookie season. So, with those guys' help, I got comfortable very quick.
And as tendency-wise, obviously running USAC, running sprint cars, Cup Series, everything else, I mean, How much have you kind of had to maybe relearn or kind of trash those type of tendencies that you had, learned over the years?
I think the drag racing side is so drastically different from everything else that you haven't had to worry about breaking bad habits because you didn't have any habits over here. It literally was starting from a blank sheet of paper and having the ability to watch for a couple years and be Leah's boyfriend and then Leah's husband and be at the racetrack and watch her and watch Matt. And then that kind of led into my opportunity to run in the alcohol class and still having Leah's mentorship there. I mean, Leah a lot of times was able to come watch my alcohol run and I think that really made the learning process much easier and much more enjoyable. But it's there's very, very few times that I feel like the things that really made me good in circle track racing really applies to the drag racing side now. It's just a totally different discipline.
Final question. I mean, going into the off season, what do you kind of most focus on as a driver that you can take into next year?
As a driver, I'm putting driving on hold for the winter. I'm just excited about being a dad right now, and honestly, it's and I catch myself, I laugh because it's just something new, but it's just new to me. I mean, millions and millions of people are doing it every day, but for me, it's a drastic change in my life. I mean, my life has revolved around race cars for 45 years now, so now the emphasis for the winter is I'm enjoying the off season of knowing that I don't have to worry about race cars. There's a lot less weight on my plate than there has been in the last 15, 20 years. And, it gives me the opportunity to spend time with my wife and both of us to learn this new child. And it's, I was telling Donnie Schatz and a couple of other people earlier that it's just remarkable to wake up each day and look at him and know that, and be patient to find whatever is new each day because they just change so fast. And I catch myself going into being a father, like trying to take care of a race car. It's like race cars aren't always happy, so you make adjustments, you fix it, and make them happy. So it's fun to try to figure out when he's upset what change we have to make to get him happy all of a sudden. So I think you can take the race car driver away from the race cars, but you can't take the racer out of him when he's away. So I think I'm going into fatherhood with that same racer mentality.